All right, Ricky. Not exactly the way we were hoping to have this show go, but we do all 162 here at Chatterbox, and so regardless of today's outcome, here we are. And Emmanuel Classe in for the top of the ninth in an 11-2 ball game. How we doing today, Ricky?
Doing pretty well. Had a slow day at work today, so I got off early, so I was able to do this. And it's just a nice day outside. How's it over where you're at?
It looks nice. I don't know. I haven't been outside today, but it looks nice out there. The joys and negatives of working from home. I see it out there, but I have no idea. I'm sure it's hot and muggy like it always is.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot different working in a warehouse. You get to look at it, then you get to be in the aluminum tinfoil hot box that it is.
Yep. I hear you. Elly de la Cruz facing off with Emmanuel Classe. Hits one right back up the middle for a base hit. Elly's second hit of the day, of course, hit that home run in the fourth inning. We'll talk more about that one later on in the show, but nice to see Elly hit one back up the middle from the left side. He's hitting from both sides of the plate now today. Good to see out of him.
Yeah, I'd like to see the next guy up, Encarnacion Strand, kind of turn it around. He's on a bit of a cold run here, and he started off hot in Arizona, but just you want to see him do something. He just took one off the head here.
Whew. Helmet goes spinning off the top of his head. Luckily, it looks like it kind of just glancing blow. CES doesn't go to the ground or anything. Hopefully he's okay.
It looks like it just got the bill of his helmet. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, you ever seen that meme of like a really worn down house with a garage? It's got a Lamborghini in the little car patio. That's Elly de la Cruz and the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, replay shows it does just glance off the bill, so hopefully he's okay. Trainer out to take a look at him, but doesn't look like CES is really interested in having a conversation about that. He'll stay in the game.
Getting Classe some work today, seems like, with the two wins.
Yeah, I mean, Classe struggled early on in the year. There were conversations about his role with this Guardians team moving forward. Opportunity for him to get some low leverage work here. I haven't followed him as closely as I was earlier in the season, but certainly was struggling early on. 4-0 on the year, but a 3.54 ERA. Definitely not what you're expecting out of Emmanuel Classe. Hasn't pitched since June 8th. So an opportunity here. Hasn't allowed a run since May 24th against the Detroit Tigers. So 6 straight outings without a run. See if the Reds can end that streak here.
Yeah, put a nice 10 spot on the board.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts, Ricky. Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Could happen. It could happen.
Could happen. Spencer Steer stands in 2-2 count now. Ball 3 in the dirt. Classe 3 balls all below the zone here to Steer. Steer 0 for 3 on the day. He fouls that one off.
I saw that there was some people, I don't know how you feel about it, and I don't really agree a whole lot, but there was some people that kind of compared Ashcraft and Classe a little bit, but Classe's got more swing and miss ability.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to take a deeper dive on that, but
I think it's just because of like the similar pitch mix, like the cutter and the sinker.
the cutter, yeah. Well, I mean, Class A has been hit hard this year. Ashcraft and Times has been hit hard this year, but also has had some really good outings. So I don't know what really to make of Graham Ashcraft right now. Obviously, he gave up the home run the other night in relief. We talked about it on the show on Monday night, depending on kind of what you decide to do with Wade Miley, whether or not he's an option for an extended outing out of the bullpen or an opener type role. Combined with someone like Wade Miley, where you get 3 innings out of each of them before turning it over to the rest of your bullpen. So I'm not sure what that answer is. Obviously, I don't think Class A started as a starter, did he? I think he's been in the bullpen most of his career.
A bullpen pitcher.
Yeah, but definitely in terms of the pitch mix, the cutter is similar. Spencer Steer flew out to left field for those that aren't watching. I'm sure most of you are, but just in case you're not, Spencer Steer flew out to left. Jose Trevino now flies out to right, and the Reds are down to their last out.
There's still hope, chat. There's still hope.
Ricky, you want the long intro or the short intro tonight?
Oh, man. Kind of feeling the long one. No.
The chat's gonna kill you for that one.
We can go with the short one. I always wanted to draw up the suspense. No, we can do that. Double it up. Do it. Followed by the other one. Long intro and then pause and then do the short intro right after.
There you go. Connor Joe standing in for the Reds in their last chance here, down 9 in the 9th with 2 outs. 1 and 2 count now on the Reds outfielder.
It would come down to Connor Joe or Garrett Hampson in the game.
Of course. Can't believe we're not pinch hitting Will Benson in this situation, Ricky.
How dare Tito?
Is Tito even awake over there?
He's over there napping.
And strike 3, Connor Joe down swinging. Reds fall 11-2. Ricky, let's do a show.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the wall, Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line to the right field, and it's the first run ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air down the right field line, doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first. And Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to a career of Terry Bruce.
Well, Ricky, Reds fall 11-2 to the Cleveland Guardians, but not to worry. Reds take 5 of 6 on the season series from the Guardians. They take the Ohio Cup. How are we doing today, Ricky?
Yeah, it feels a lot better swallowing an 11-2 loss, knowing that we do get the first Ohio Cup in 11 years. So I'll take it.
Yeah, it's been since 2014. Will Benson named the Ohio Cup Most Outstanding Player. Some conversation during the broadcast, of course, about who was most deserving of that award. Sadak very staunchly in favor of Will Benson. Obviously, some conversation around Andrew Abbott, given his outing last night. But nonetheless, it goes to Will Benson. And again, Reds fall 11-2. We're going to get right into this one for you, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you, I'm sure, very excited to see the box score breakdown on this one from Cleveland. So let's get into it. The Reds and Guardians meet for the final matchup of 2025 between the two teams. Logan Allen took to the mound for Cleveland while Cincinnati turned to Nick Lodolo. Lodolo struggled mightily in this one. Guardians strike in the first when David Fry walks, then scores on a Jose Ramirez double. Then in the third, Lodolo surrenders 2 singles before hitting Ramirez to load the bases. Then Carlos Santana makes him pay, sends it deep to right center. A grand slam and a 5-0 lead for Cleveland. Elly De La Cruz got the Reds on the board in the fourth with an absolute bomb from the right-handed side of the plate. Made it 5-1. Lyon Richardson comes in with 1 out in the fourth, allows a 2 RBI double to Kyle Manzardo, makes it 7-1. Final stat line on the day, Ricky. Lodolo, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 6 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. TJ Friedel added a solo home run in the sixth. Then newly added Red Joe LaSorsa comes in for the bottom of the sixth, allows hits to the first 5 he faces, allows 4 runs to make it 11-2, and that is where it would end. Guardians take the finale. Reds fall to 35-34 on the season. We did, of course, have a deep drive of the game. Elly De La Cruz in the fourth inning, 108.6 miles per hour, 441 feet to left center field. That ball way up in the bleachers, 32-degree launch angle. Did increase the Reds' win probability 3.8% all the way up to 9.8% at the time. And as Trace likes to tell you all, as we all know, that ended at 0%. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuels production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks, as always, to our friends at DSC. And if you watched the post-game show last night, you know that Michael Rolfe offered up a free Ricky Karcher jersey to those in the chat. In the post-game, leave a comment on the post-game recap video with your prediction for the hardest hit ball for the Reds today. That was, of course, Elly De La Cruz's 108.6 mile per hour bomb. And Ricky, the winner, David Bloom, 108.3 was his prediction. So shout out to David Bloom, only 0.3 miles per hour off from that prediction. So shout out to David Bloom. Real quick, we have a $2 super chat from Alex. This game was an L when the lineup was announced. Guess we'll get into that here in a little bit, Ricky. But first, I want to dive right into it in the major story, obviously, from today. Nick Lodolo struggled. Mentioned it in the box score recap, of course, but 3 1/3, 5 hits, 6 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. ERA now sits at 3.76 on the season. I got to just ask, what's your level of concern on Nick Lodolo at this point in the season?
Yeah, I'm concerned. Not only because like the injury history in the past, but now that he's healthy, he's just not performing. He had 76 pitches today, only 46 were strikes. He did strike out 6, but just he wasn't locating his pitches, and guys were, sitting on the fastball. His sweeper wasn't really in the zone a whole lot, and it's when you're not locating your pitches and you're not getting guys to chase, you're bound to get hit.
Yeah, it's interesting. It feels like Lodolo has some of these days more often than I'd like him to. I mean, every pitcher has days where he's off, but it just feels like he has these days a little bit more than others where he really for me, it's about the like effort level, right? Where he's, like you mentioned, 76 pitches when you only go 3 1/3. Not great. He's working all around the strike zone. He's not in the zone a lot of the times, 46 strikes, 30 balls. Just working a lot harder than he needs to. And that's really been a challenge, I think, for him for a couple years now. It feels like we have this conversation. I've had this conversation with Nick multiple times. It feels like we're just, whether it's a lack of confidence or a lack of control, I don't know. But at this point, you've got to attack the zone and go after it. Unfortunately, today, the Guardians were ready for it, scored 6 runs off of him. The second time this season that Lodolo has given up 6 earned runs, did so on May 3rd as well against Washington. But 3 1/3, definitely his shortest outing of the year. I guess I don't know. You turn to Lyon Richardson to come in. Lyon looked okay, I guess, in his inning and 2/3 of work, but I guess it would just be really nice to be able to figure out what it is with Lodolo that contributes to him not being able to have his best stuff on certain days.
Yeah, and it feels like it's been like a theme over the last probably 5 or 6 starts with him. Over his last 7, he's 1-1 with the 4.30 ERA. And he's striking out guys. He's got 39 strikeouts and 9 walks, but it's just the lack of putting the ball in the zone with the fastball and then getting guys to chase. When he's throwing fastballs 6 inches off the plate, up and away, and then trying to get guys to chase, it's just not working. And it's almost like Alexis Diaz in a weird way, where if you can't locate the fastball, guys aren't chasing the slider. And that's concerning, because with Diaz, he was only asked to go out for an inning, and you're asking Lodolo to go out for 5, 6, right, hopefully 7. So I guess with that, would you think about, because there's people, in the chat saying like trade Lodolo, but like his value is super low right now. Would you consider a move to the bullpen with him?
Well, we talked about it on the show on Monday night. My concern right now with the Reds starting pitching is the depth. I mean, if you were telling me that Julian Aguilar was healthy and Brandon Williamson was healthy and all these guys were healthy, Hunter Green was healthy, and you had the depth that could support Nick Lodolo's move to the bullpen or giving him maybe a little rest and a trip to the IL or something, I'd be all in favor of that. But again, this is the same conversation we had on Monday night where, okay, if it's a trade or just a potential option to AAA or just an IL stint for Lodolo, what's your answer there? I don't know that the Reds have that right now, and that's the biggest challenge. I don't know that you're going to get the return for Lodolo that certainly would be justified if he was pitching better. Someone would be willing to take I don't even want to call it a flyer, because he's probably a perfectly fine number 5 starter or 4 starter for most teams, but I just don't know what that return would look like. And unless you're in full sell mode, you're not going to get rid of somebody with the kind of control that you have with Nick Lodolo. Pull it up real quick, but I mean, I believe you have control with him for, I
guess, through 2027, I believe.
Another 3 years, right? So, so 2 more years through 2027. I don't know. Your return would have to be a pretty good return in order to even think about that. So, but again, would he be better off in the bullpen? Maybe, but I agree with you. I talked a lot about Alexis Diaz and how he loved to get people to chase out of the zone. And if people stopped chasing out of the zone at any point against him, he was going to struggle mightily. And we started to see that with Alexis Diaz this year. His walks numbers through the roof. And then obviously people hitting him hard when he was throwing in the zone. Nick Lodolo, same thing. It feels like that curveball against that right-handed batter that used to like hit people on the back foot when he was striking you out. We would see that multiple times in the past. I can't tell you the last time I saw that on the Nick Lodolo. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but for me personally, it just feels like he's not attacking the zone, and he's not getting the swings and misses on the pitches that used to be his old reliable.
Yeah, I think there's one option, but it's not going to happen. That'd be Chase Burns. That'd be the one guy. He could come up right now, but that Nick Krall's already said it's not going to happen. So Yeah, it's a shame just because I think with Lodolo struggling, I think Burns could really help us right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, whether it's Lodolo, whether it's Wade Miley, I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of people that are going to push back on you on the idea that Chase Burns would be an improvement to this Reds rotation, but it doesn't seem like it's in the Reds' plans at this point, at least in the near term, to be looking at Chase Burns. They just promoted him to AAA. It sounds like he is the projected starter for tomorrow's game for Louisville. So we'll be sure to keep an eye out on that. Obviously, Louisville currently in the top of the 8th in Iowa. So Chase Burns tomorrow against the Iowa Barnstormers. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you that maybe Chase Burns would be an upgrade, but the truth of the matter is that right now it certainly doesn't feel like that's part of the plan for the Reds. The other piece, obviously, well, I don't think we've gotten an update yet. Hunter Green goes to LA for a second opinion on his groin and back injury. We don't know the timeline on him. Certainly feels like the Reds are going to be overly cautious on his return this year. So wouldn't be shocked if it wasn't until closer to the All-Star break. Obviously, we'd love to see him back in a couple of weeks, but at this point, are the Reds just going to shut him down and bring him back after the All-Star break? That's certainly a possibility. So yeah, I don't know for sure what they're going to do here, but the rotation is something that they're going to have to figure out, and feels like went from being an extreme strong suit for this team for the first couple months of the season to now the cracks are starting to show, and that depth that we thought we had in the spring training definitely going by the wayside. Real quick, let's just go ahead and talk about the offense in this game. Obviously, Elly De La Cruz hits from both sides of the plate today, home run, and then a single in the 9th. Like what you're seeing out of him. CES struggling a little bit right now. Matt McClain does pick up a hit, so that was good to see. TJ Friedel continues to hit and hit well. He hits a home run today in the 6th. What's your main takeaway offensively from a game where the Reds only scored 2 runs?
Yeah, Encarnacion Strand going 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Our favorite players, Connor Joe and Garrett Hampson, going 0 for 7 with 2 strikeouts. McClain did get hit. He had a pretty decent game, 1 for 2 and a walk. And then Elly not striking out. That's a big plus too. You know, getting the massive home run, and then the base hit up the middle in the 8th. Yeah, I'd like to see Espinal not in the 2-hole, but you know, he did get a hit, and that's more than a lot of players in his lineup today.
One last talking point on today's game and on, I guess, the Ohio Cup as a whole, real quick, Ricky. Will Benson named the most outstanding player for the series this year. Obviously carried the team during the series in Cincinnati. Easy answer for you?
Yeah, I think it would have been a little, like with Abbott's performance yesterday, it makes it a little bit more difficult to choose. But I mean, Benson having that massive series in the homestand, and then you know the multi hits in the last couple games too. It's well deserved. He deserved it.
Yeah, I think he deserved it for sure. Obviously, the Reds sweep the Guardians earlier in the year in Cincinnati. Love to see that. Will Benson a big part of it. Love Abbott's performance yesterday, but ultimately from a most outstanding perspective, Will Benson making a lot of sense on that one. Want to take a quick break to remind you, as always, that you can call or text 988 anytime, day or night. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is a place to get support for anything related to mental health, whether it's an immediate crisis, simply wanting to find out how to connect with care, or anything in between. It's 100% confidential, secure, and anonymous way to reach out for help when you don't know where else to turn. To connect, call or text 988 or visit mantherapy.org to get help. It's okay not to be okay. And Ricky, we got some news during the game today. Noelvi Marte potentially tentatively scheduled to go on a rehab assignment on June 20th. So that's still 9 days away. And then Austin Hayes, we'll talk about in just a second. Noelvi Marte has been nursing this injury now for seemingly a little while, but sounds like he was hurt even when he was playing. What's your outlook for Noelvi Marte at this point, and what can Reds fans expect when he does return?
I think that when he does come back, you can kind of expect a slow start, just missing all that time, and hopefully he can get a solid rehab assignment and not be rushed up, kind of like how Stevenson was from the they have similar injury, right? Oblique injury.
Yeah.
So because oblique is kind of that weird where it's kind of hard to stretch it out, and then you use it when you swing a bat more than anything other than your leg. And yeah, I just hope he can get a solid rehab assignment, get his confidence going, because I mean we saw how he was when he came up. I mean, before the injury, well, I guess before the IL stint, he had the injury most of the season. In his last 15 games, he was hitting .311, slugging .557. So, I mean, if he can come up and do half of that and bat .250, .260, like that's good. I'll take that. And he was showing some decent improvement at third. He had some plays in the Baltimore game where they won like 24-1 or whatever it was. You know, kind of short hop steer on a play. Steer maybe could have got in better position, but you know, it is what it is. I think they ruled it an E6. So yeah, hopefully he can come back and just be consistent. That's the most important thing. If he's going to be consistently bad, that's fine. He can work out of it. But if he can just be consistent, not up and down, put him in a decent spot in the lineup towards the bottom half, let him get the kinks out, and hopefully he can return and be the player that we think he can be.
I think the biggest question for Marte is where he fits into the lineup, given CES showing capability at third base, Jeimer Candelario potentially nearing return to the major league level. Obviously, Spencer Steer has played a lot of first base. Santiago Espinal has played a lot of third base. So my biggest question for Marte is, it's almost similar to the beginning of the year where he's almost got to show that he's going to be better than all of these guys to earn a spot on the roster, or will they just leave him in AAA and let him play a AAA until he earns his way back up to the major league roster? I don't know that answer for sure. We'll wait and see what happens between now and then. Obviously, still plenty of time. Things can change. On the other hand, not a ton of time. Austin Hayes, who again has been on the IL for his foot after getting hit by a pitch. According to Terry Francona today, still not 100%. They're going to test him out again on Friday before that game to see if they can activate him then. The question at this point for me is not when Austin Hayes returns, but the question, of course, is what is that corresponding move? So let's start with Austin Hayes. Any thoughts you have on him coming back? They showed him running on the broadcast the other day. Looked to be doing okay. Didn't see any noticeable limp, but obviously didn't feel ready for today. He just brings additional power to this lineup and elongates this lineup. We've talked about it time and time again tonight. Connor Joe and Hampson are your corner outfielders. I mean, that alone, when you get Hayes back, is a huge improvement.
Yeah, and Hayes, he's got 119 at bats, and I think he's played in 39 games this season. 31 games this season. And he's got the third most home runs on the team, and he's got an OPS of 901. So, I mean, he's obviously probably our best power hitter, other than Elly just being in the lineup every day. I hope that we can get just an extended look at him. Just I want to see him for 2 months, just every day in the lineup, or 5-6 games a week in the lineup. Just we saw what happened with the lineup when Will Benson came back. When Will came back in the Cleveland series, and he hit 4 home runs in 5 games or something like that through the week, or we hit 4 home runs in 3 games. He spark plugged the lineup, and if with Hayes, his power, he's got probably the strongest arm in the outfield too. So if he can come back up and just be in the lineup every day and be an extended healthy player, obviously he's a massive improvement over Connor Joe and Garrett Hampson combined.
So now the question becomes, he's a massive improvement over the two of them combined. Most likely one of them has to go when Austin Hayes comes back. Put yourself in Nick Krall's shoes, Ricky. Who's the move?
I think probably if I had to pick one, I would pick Garrett Hampson, but I think he's got more sprint speed, so they might look at him as like a Bubba Thompson, like pinch runner guy, maybe. Hopefully not. But I would keep Connor Joe at this point just with his flexibility, where he can play first base, he can play in the outfield, he can play third, like he can play around a little bit. So I would look at keeping Connor Joe if I could.
I mean, Connor
it's
Joe,
kind of like worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited about having to make this decision. Let me tell you. Look, I mean, the first conversation, as always, that comes up during this is Connor Joe has options, and if you decide that Connor Joe is the choice, then it's a pretty simple. You send him to AAA and you maintain his rights if you do need him down the road. Garrett Hampson, on the other hand, does not have options, so that would be a DFA and likely would no longer be with the team. I'm not sure there's a whole lot of people in this chat and listening to this podcast on Wednesday evening or on Thursday morning that are going to be upset if Garrett Hampson has to go. But nonetheless, the truth of the matter is that it feels as if the Reds would likely lean towards an option for Connor Joe over a DFA for Hampson, but I don't know for sure. I guess that's something that we're going to have to wait and see how they manage that. Ultimately, I think given the outfield position, I think Garrett Hampson probably gives you a little bit more flexibility in the infield should something happen to Matt McLain or Elly De La Cruz or even Santiago Espinal. But I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, which is the lesser of two evils? They both are not contributing either way. So,
So let me ask you this.
It's one of those things where honestly, I'd rather just DFA Hampson, send Joe down to AAA and call up Reese Hines and see what he can do. At least give him a chance to swing the bat and maybe he connects on a couple here and there.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. And then also with Candelario coming back relatively soon too, I was thinking maybe you DFA Hampson and then you send down Connor Joe when Candelario can come back, and maybe you do that. But I don't know. So it's whoever comes up is obviously going to be an improvement over both of them.
Well, depends
Unless
on what you
Nick
consider an
Krall.
improvement. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I guess we'll wait and see what happens. Obviously, the first step is Austin Hayes needs to get healthy. Hopefully that'll be on Friday. If not, we'll see when he returns to the Reds lineup. Ricky, I'll let you make a comment on it. I don't want to get too much into it, but I know you mentioned to me earlier the article that was released this morning from Gordon Whitmire regarding his opinion on Hunter Green. He is of the belief that the Reds should trade Hunter Green at this point. What is your opinion on that article?
Asinine. I mean, it's dumb. It's just your best pitcher. I get it. He's hurt right now, but I mean, when he comes back, I mean, he was arguably the best pitcher in baseball for the first month and a half of the season. The groin injury, it sucks. It slowed him down, and then he wasn't quite the same coming back. And then, now he's got the groin injury again, plus the back injury. But I mean, we have team control through 2029 with a club option for 2030, and he's cheap. Right. So, I mean, that's a Castellini dream. You have a really good pitcher that is under team control for a total of 8 years altogether from the time of his signing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you could pick any other pitcher on this team, and I'd be like, okay, I can understand why. But Hunter Green, I just to me, he's the one untouchable for now.
I don't know why you would move him. His most expensive year in 2029, which is the club option, is for $21 million. Like, would you rather have Hunter Green or Nick Martinez? Comes down to that, and I think most of us would agree that answer is Hunter Green. So I'm not opposed to revisiting that conversation in 2028 when he's kind of getting on the expiring deal, and he's, maybe at that point things change. But at the end of his contract in 2029, when the club option is $21 million, he's only going to be 29 years old. He's still going to have a significant portion of his career ahead of him. I mean, the one thing here is that the return for Hunter Green would be massive. But why would the Reds do that? They would just completely cut off a majority of their fan base at that point and anger a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if we thought fans were rioting over Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker, I mean, if they traded Hunter Green this season, I mean, there would be people would just stop going.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Any final thoughts about today's game, Ricky?
Just, it sucks losing 11-2 on a getaway game, and it sucks seeing Garrett Hampson and Connor Joe in the same lineup. But I'm just happy that we finally get an Ohio Cup trophy, and it comes back to where it belongs in Cincinnati. And maybe Francona was the Ohio Cup cog in the machine. Just from he went to Cleveland in 2012, 2013, and they win however many 9-10 in a row, and then he comes to Cincinnati and it's flipped right back to him. The Ohio Cup goes where Tito goes, so maybe that's just where it falls today.
Maybe. We'll take a quick look around the NL Central before we sign off. Pittsburgh Pirates defeat the Miami Marlins 5-2. The Chicago Cubs, they fall 7-2 to the Philadelphia Phillies. Jesus Luzardo picks up the win on that one over Ben Brown. Elsewhere in the NL Central, the Atlanta Braves currently lead the Milwaukee Brewers 6-2 in the bottom of the 8th. And the St. Louis Cardinals trail 5-2 to the Toronto Blue Jays. That one through 6. Quick look at the Reds MILB update. I'm sure Nick will have a full rundown for those of you in the podcast later on. Louisville currently trails Iowa 7-3. That one in the top of the 8th. Big news out of that one is Jacob Hurtubise with his 4th double in 2 days. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI today. Rhys Hines 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day as well. Double A plays later tonight. High A wrapped up already. They'd fall 4-3 to the Lake Erie Captains. In that one, Cam Collier 1 for 3 on the day with a run. Ariel Almonte really on a hot streak right now. He was 4 for 3 today. Had a double on the day as well. Scored and had an RBI. He now has an 8-game hitting streak. So shout out to Ariel Almonte. Single A plays tonight, and the ACL Reds play tonight. Up next for the Reds, they will head to Detroit for a 3-game series with the Detroit Tigers. Starts Friday night. Nick Martinez on the mound for the Reds. He is 4-6 with a 3.70 ERA. Tigers have not yet announced their starters, but Tarek Skubal and Casey Mize both scheduled to go for the Tigers today and tomorrow. So the Reds will miss the 2 Tigers aces. Ricky, what are you looking for in the Detroit series coming up?
Yeah, it's kind of big missing Mize and Skubal. Just they're Skubal's one of the better pitchers in the AL. I mean, he's a just phenomenal. He had a 2-hit complete game shutout a couple weeks ago. I mean, he's phenomenal. Casey Mize, he's really solid, and just missing those two. And with Martinez, who's been pretty decent his last couple games too. Hopefully we can sneak out. You know, as I think Nick pointed out yesterday on the show that we're 18-19 versus teams with a winning record this season. So we kind of play up to the better teams and play down to the worst teams. So hopefully we might have a competitive series and maybe we can sneak out a series win.
That would be big. I remember last year, I'm sure you do as well, where Detroit was coming to Cincinnati and it was a pivotal series for the Reds. The Tigers came in and swept the Reds. So not a good outcome for Cincinnati in that one. Nick Martinez's last outing was June 7th, went up against Arizona, went 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, struck out 6 on the game, lowered his ERA, as I mentioned, to 3.70. But his outing before that against the Cubs, he struggled 4 2/3, 7 hits, 5 runs. So looking for that to kind of bounce back and hopefully give us another good outing from Nick Martinez. And yeah, so that will be starting Friday night, 6:40 first pitch.
7:10.
7:10 first pitch. And ESPN has the probable pitcher for the Detroit Tigers as Kiter Montero, 1-1 with a 4.24 ERA. Or I'm sorry, that's his away stats. Why would they show me his away stats first? That's so silly. 2-1 with a 4.30 ERA on the season for the right-handed pitcher out of Venezuela. So with that being said, we'll sign off for today. Ricky, appreciate you jumping on kind of last minute. Trace let us know that he had some other stuff come up that he needed to address. So appreciate you stepping in for us. As always, be sure to smash the like button and give us a follow here on Chatterbox Sports for all the latest news on the Cincinnati Reds and across all of Cincinnati sports. For Ricky Logan, I am Craig Sandlin. This has been Chatterbox Reds. Appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you next time.